In this module we will discuss about the definition of ETOPS, the relative regulations, the evolution of the rules that led to ETOPS operations, and the associated benefits. ETOPS is the ICAO acronym of Extended Range Operations. ETOPS describes aircraft's operations on routes that contain a point from an adequate airport further than a specified threshold. ETOPS regulations are applicable to routes not only over water, but also remote land areas. Different terminology is used to reflect the ETOPS concept. Extended Diversion Time Operations, EDTO, for ICAO, replacing the ETOPS acronym. Extended Twin Operations, ETOPS, and Long Range Operations, LROPS, for EASA, and Extended Operations, ETOPS, for FAA. This course is intended for ETOPS operations, on twin-engine aircraft only. The threshold for ETOPS operations is usually set to 1 hour flying time at the approved one-engine in operative speed, OEI. Beyond this threshold time, defined by the operator's national airworthiness authorities, NAA, ETOPS rules apply. On the other hand, the maximum diversion time is the longest diversion time authorized for a flight, under ETOPS rules. It is also computed in still air, under standard conditions at an OA speed, and is approved by the NAA. The maximum diversion time defines an area of operation. Threshold and maximum diversion time must be converted into a distance for operational purposes. We are going to describe this conversion later in the course. The foundation of ETOPS operations has its origins in the implementation in the 1950s of the 60-minute rule, regardless of the number of engines and based on the reliability of piston engines. Some years later, the restriction was removed on 3- and 4-engine aircraft, and some flexibility was approved up to 90 minutes. The introduction of jet engines, and specially high-bypass jet engines, led to a much greater reliability. Real ETOPS operations started in the mid-80s on the North Atlantic routes. New requirements enable operators to seek approval for routes up to 120 minutes from an adequate airport at single-engine speed. At the beginning of the 1990s, all A300 and A310 were approved for 180 minutes diversion time. Also, the A320 was the first fly-by-wire aircraft to be approved for ETOPS operations with 120 minutes diversion time. In 1994, the A330 was the first aircraft to receive an early ETOPS approval with 120 minutes diversion time at entry into service. Up until now, A320 is certified up to 180 minutes diversion time, and A330 passenger aircraft are certified beyond 180 minutes diversion time. Today, aircraft design take into account as early as possible ETOPS rules. In 2014, the A350-900 was certified beyond 180 minutes diversion time at entry into service. The advent of the ETOPS regulations, combined with the enhance of the aircraft reliability, enabled to enlarge the area of operation of twin-engine aircraft. It has been enlarged from the nominal 60 minutes, up to 420 minutes, as for the A350. Twin jets can now be used on routes previously only flown by 3- and quad-engine aircraft. The benefits are huge for an operator as the implementation of ETOPS flight enables to use more efficient routings, save tons of fuel and CO2 emissions, and thus gain an equivalent payload, reduce the dependency to the accessibility to numerous alternate airports, enable airlines a greater flexibility in their fleet resources, and open new direct routes from secondary airports. Now it's time to answer a few questions. Etops regulations apply to routes above? EDTO requirements apply to? What are the conditions to define the maximum diversion time? In this module, you should bear in mind EDTO are the IKO requirements for extended range operations applicable to twin, tri and quad-engine aircraft, but ETOPS acronym may still be used instead of EDTO. ETOPS regulations are applicable to routes over water as well as remote land areas. ETOPS requirements are applicable beyond the threshold defined by the operator's NAA, but usually set to 60 minutes flying time at OEI speed for twin-engine aircraft, and the maximum diversion time is the longest diversion time authorized under ETOPS rules.